What if the reason you're struggling to sleep isn't because you're not tired, but because your mind simply won't let go? For many older adults, the quiet hours before sleep can feel like the loneliest part of the day. You lie in bed, hoping for rest, but instead your thoughts run wild memories, worries, to-do lists no one else sees. And perhaps the hardest part? You wake up feeling just as drained as when you first closed your eyes. But what if I told you there's a simple little technique, just 3 gentle taps on your body, that's helping thousands of seniors drift off within just 4 minutes? It may sound unusual, but this soothing method is rooted in science and supported by real stories. It's quietly becoming a movement, and today, I'll guide you through it step by step, right from the comfort of your chair. Before we dive in, I'd love to hear from you. Where are you tuning in from, and what time is it where you are? Feel free to share something small from your day in the comments. It means more than you know. And if this brings you comfort, don't forget to subscribe so you won't miss the next tip that might just transform your evenings. If you've been blaming yourself for your sleep troubles, thinking maybe it's just part of getting older or that you're not trying hard enough, please know this. The real reason is much gentler. Your body is changing, and it's asking for a new kind of attention. Around the age of 60, your body naturally produces less melatonin. That's the hormone that quietly signals your brain, the day is over, it's time to sleep. In younger years, that signal used to come through clearly, like a gentle lullaby. But with age, the signal grows faint. It's still there, just softer. And when that signal fades, even if you're tired, your body may not fully power down. At the same time, your nervous system becomes more sensitive. You might find yourself waking up more easy, maybe from a creak in the floor, a car driving by, or even your own racing thoughts. Concerns about your health, your family, or tomorrow's schedule can keep your body in a quiet state of alert, even when your mind is begging for sleep. Doctors call this fragmented sleep. It's when you rest but never sink into the deep, restorative stages your body truly needs. You may get 7 or 8 hours of sleep on paper, yet wake up groggy, heavy, and off balance. And over time, this kind of sleep chips away at your mental clarity, your balance, and your overall vitality. It's no wonder so many older adults turn to sleep aids. For a short while, they may seem to help, but most of these medications don't address the root problem. They hush the brain without teaching the body how to relax again. And in the morning, they often leave you feeling even more sluggish, forgetful, or unsteady on your feet. So if you've been blaming yourself for your sleep troubles, it's time to let that go. This isn't something you caused. It's not about willpower or doing something wrong, it's simply part of how the body shifts with age. These changes happen slowly, quietly, to almost everyone. And that means the way forward should be just as gentle, a kind invitation, not a harsh correction. Your body hasn't forgotten how to rest. It just needs a new kind of signal, not from medication or strict routines, but from small, calming practices that remind you, you're safe now. You can release the day. That's why more and more older adults are turning to simple nighttime habits: slow breathing, light tapping, warm rituals that feel comforting and familiar. They aren't fads. They aren't flashy. They work because they communicate in the language your nervous system truly understands: gentle touch, soft rhythm, warmth, and a sense of safety. When you begin to see sleep challenges not as something broken, but as a natural part of growing older, something beautiful begins to unfold. You stop resisting your body. You stop feeling like you're doing something wrong. And instead, you start working with your body with patience, care, and kindness. So tonight, if you're once again lying awake, staring at the ceiling, try asking yourself a different question. Don't wonder, what's wrong with me? Instead, ask, what is my body trying to tell me? And often the answer is simple. It doesn't want sleep, it wants peace. And once peace is present, sleep will gently follow. That quiet shift can change everything. There's a simple little practice helping thousands of older adults drift off more easy, not with gadgets or pills, but with their own hands. It's known as the 3-point tapping method. And for many, it's become a nightly comfort, not because it's popular, but because it brings results, often in just a few short minutes. The method is as easy as it sounds. You softly tap 3 key points on your body, each for about 30 to 60 seconds, all while breathing slowly and evenly. And as you do, something begins to shift. Your shoulders start to drop, your thoughts ease up, and your nervous system receives a gentle signal. You're safe. It's time to rest. Let's begin with the first point, right between your eyebrows. Just above the bridge of your nose sits a small area tied closely to the part of your brain that manages worry, planning, and decision-making. For many older adults, this part stays far too active, especially at night. That's why you might feel worn out, yet still unable to quiet your mind. By tapping gently on this spot, you're not forcing sleep. You're offering your mind a cue through soft repetition and touch-toe wind down. It's like turning down the volume on your thoughts, one quiet tap at a time. Now let's move on to the second point, your temples, just above and slightly behind the eyes. These are places where tension quietly builds throughout the day, often without us noticing. Tiny muscles and vessels work non-stop while we read, focus, or even squint. By the evening, they're often tight, tired, and sometimes sore. Ruth, a 76-year-old from Pennsylvania, once told me she used to feel a dull ache every evening around 8 p.m., not a sharp pain, but a gentle squeezing pressure that left her uneasy before bedtime. She tried everything from over-the-counter painkillers to eye drops and even new glasses, but nothing truly helped. Then one day, she began tapping gently on her temples with her fingertips while breathing slowly. Within just a few days, the pressure began to fade. And by the end of the week, it had disappeared. There's a very practical reason this works. The temple area is closely tied to nerves that influence blood flow, relaxation, and your body's sleep rhythm. Gentle tapping here helps improve circulation and sends a soothing signal to your system. The day is done. You're safe. It's okay to let go. Now let's talk about the final point tone many people forget. The back of your neck. Right where your skull meets your spine lies a hidden pocket of tension. It builds up from hours of holding your head upright, reading, or simply carrying the emotional weight of daily life. When this area becomes tight, it can reduce the flow of oxygen and energy to your brain. That's why so many people wake up feeling foggy, with stiff necks or a heavy head, even after what should be a full night's sleep. Harold, a 72-year-old retired truck driver from Minnesota, shared his experience with me. He always prided himself on good posture, but recently, restful sleep had become elusive. No matter when he went to bed, he would wake up groggy and off. Then he began tapping gently along the base of his skull from left to right for just a minute each night. And something shifted, not just his sleep, but his mornings. "It feels like my brain finally gets a full breath now," he told me. And here's what brings it all together: your breath. While tapping, follow a gentle rhythm. Inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale for 6. This simple 4 to 2 -6 breathing pattern acts like a natural reset for your nervous system. That long, slow exhale signals your body's parasympathetic response, the state of rest and restoration. Your heart rate slows, muscles loosen, and your brain begins to release melatonin again, that precious hormone that supports deep, uninterrupted sleep. What makes this method so special isn't just the physical effects, it's what it offers emotionally. Every gentle tap becomes a quiet reminder: you're safe, you're supported. You don't need to carry everything with you into the night. There's no prescription required, no device to buy, and it takes only a few peaceful minutes. But what you get in return, calm, rest, and renewal, might be more valuable than anything money can buy. So if tonight your mind starts to wander and your body struggles to relax, bring your hands to these 3 simple places. Tap slowly, breathe deeply, and remind your body of something it already knows. You are still capable of true, healing sleep. If you've ever felt exhausted yet wide awake, know this: you're not alone. Many older adults are deeply familiar with that sensation. The body feels ready to sleep, but the mind just won't slow down. That's exactly where a gentle tool like the 3-point tapping method can make all the difference. It isn't just soothing, it's grounded in a quiet understanding of how our bodies adapt with age, especially after we pass 60. Over time, certain parts of the head and neck begin to collect stress, like hidden pocket stress that's not only emotional, but also physical and habitual. It might be the posture we've held all day, the worries we carry, or the silent strain of aging. If this tension goes unaddressed, it doesn't simply disappear, it lingers. And when night falls, instead of easing us into slumber, it keeps the body in a subtle state of alertness. By gently tapping 3 specific areas with your fingers, you're giving your nervous system a new kind of message. It's okay to relax now. Let's take a closer look at these 3 points, and why each one matters so much. First, between the eyebrows, calming the restless mind. Right in the center of your forehead, between your eyebrows and just above the bridge of your nose, is a small area known as the glabella. It may not look important, but beneath it lies the prefrontal cortex zone of the brain's most active areas when it comes to decision-making, organizing, and yes, worrying. As we grow older, this part of the brain tends to stay active into the night, especially for those of us who carry quiet mental burdens, concerns about our health, medication schedules, or family. So even when your body is drained, your brain might still be racing. It's not just anxiety, it's a system that's gotten used to staying on. Here's where gentle tapping works its quiet magic. By rhythmically tapping this spot for half a minute to a minute, you activate a network of nerves linked to emotional balance. You're not erasing your thoughts, but you are softening them, like turning the volume knob down after a long day. Frank, a retired 78-year-old teacher from Ohio, once told me he'd spend hours lying in bed, turning over every little worry. But after a week of practicing this nightly tapping, he shared, "It was like my brain finally realized nothing needs fixing at 10 p.m. When paired with slow breathing, this simple motion becomes a gentle gateway to rest. A signal that whispers, 'You've done enough today, now it's time to let go.'" Second, the temples, easing built-up tension. Next, let's shift to the sides of your forehead, the temples. Chances are, you've found yourself rubbing this area without even thinking during a stressful moment. That's because your temples are home to a dense cluster of blood vessels, nerves, and small muscles that work non-stop all day long. Reading, concentrating, frowning, or just holding tension in the jaw of it can silently collect in the temples. And if left unnoticed, that stress doesn't vanish. It builds up, sometimes leading to that familiar feeling of heaviness or a dull ache by evening. And unlike muscle pain in your back or legs, tension in the head can go unnoticed until it becomes a dull ache or a sense of weight pressing on the forehead. That's exactly what Miss Eleanor, 73, from Indiana, experienced. Like clockwork, every evening, she felt what she described as a tight band wrapping around her temples. At first, she blamed it on eye strain or poor lighting until a friend introduced her to the tapping practice. She began spending a few quiet minutes in her favorite armchair, closing her eyes and gently tapping her temples with the tips of her middle fingers. Just 40 seconds of slow, steady movement each night. Within a few days, she noticed the tightness start to melt away. Soon after, she was falling asleep with ease, something she hadn't done in years. So why does this gentle motion have such an effect? Because it boosts circulation in a part of the body we rarely think about, softens microscopic muscle tension, and stimulates cranial nerves that regulate calm and equilibrium. Imagine clearing a traffic jam not on a highway, but in your head, so the body and mind can finally communicate without interference. The temples quietly store what we often hid in spoken worries, mental to-do lists, and the emotional static we carry. Tapping here offers a release, a small act of compassion toward yourself, allowing that load to slip away, even just until morning. Third, back of the neck, unlocking the overlooked stress. Now we arrive at the third and final point, and perhaps the most transformative of them all. It's the space just beneath the base of your skull, where your head meets your spine. This small area is a quiet collector of long-term strain. Hours spent reading with your neck bent, looking down at a phone, or simply supporting the weight of your head day after day. These muscles take on more than we realize. And when they become tight or inflamed, they can reduce oxygen flow to the brain, one reason why so many older adults wake up feeling cloudy, stiff, or drained, even after what seems like a full night's sleep. Take Mr. Gerald, age 75, from North Carolina. A lifelong truck driver, he took pride in his physical strength, but recently, he'd been waking with a stiff neck and a head that felt like it was wrapped in fog. His daughter suggested he try the tapping method, so he did lightly tapping from left to right at the base of his skull each evening, using 3 fingers like a bridge spanning the top of his neck. Slowly but surely, his mornings began to shift. He felt clearer, more alert, and surprisingly peaceful. From a medical standpoint, this area is home to branches of the vagus nerve, an essential player in regulating heart rate, digestion, and emotional balance. When gently stimulated through tapping, this network gets a soft reboot. Your heart calms, your mind quiets, and your brain receives a fresher flow of oxygen-rich blood, helping support deeper rest and brighter mornings. Just 60 seconds of care here can send a message your body may have needed for years. It's okay to release. You've carried enough. Each of these 3 spots may be small, but together, they form a deeply effective ritual. And when paired with mindful breathing, inhale for 4 seconds, hold for 2, and exhale for 6, they become a bedtime signal to every part of you. You're safe now. You can stop bracing. You can rest. No pills, no fancy tools, just your own gentle hand sand, the quiet belief that you're worthy of rest. Because sometimes, sleep doesn't begin with closing your eyes, it begins with letting go of everything you've held on to all day. Holding on to all day. And with each tender tap, your body starts to remember how to loosen its grip, how to unwind, and how to welcome sleep again. Often it's not just a single habit that brings rest, but a handful of quiet, rowdiness, simple acts working together like old companions, gently guiding you into peace. That's why the tapping method, though incredibly effective on its own, becomes even more powerful when paired with a few thoughtful, small nightly rituals that speak your body's language without words. One of the most important of these? Turning off blue light at least half an hour before bedtime. Here's why. As evening falls, your brain is meant to naturally produce melatonin, the hormone that signals it's time to slow down and prepare for rest. But the blue light from modern screens, phones, tablets, TVs confuses that process. It mimics the brightness of daytime, tricking your brain into thinking the day isn't over. The result? Melatonin gets delayed, and sleep feels out of reach. So if you've ever laid in bed wide awake after scrolling or watching a show, it's not your fault, it's your biology reacting as it was designed. The antidote is simple. Try turning off all screens 30 to 60 minutes before sleep. Let your home grow dimmer, your pace slower. It's like telling your brain gently, you can start letting go now. And as you enter that calmer space, there's one more comforting habit to try: sipping a warm cup of water mixed with a teaspoon of raw honey. It might sound too simple to matter, but science supports it. The warmth soothes your digestive system and gently raises your core temperature enough to trigger a natural calming response. And the honey? It provides just enough natural glucose to support serotonin production, which later converts into melatonin. In essence, raw honey gives your brain the ingredients it needs to rediscover rest. Miss Ruth, 74, from Arizona, shared that she used to lie awake until 2 a.m., unable to settle. Then someone at her church suggested honey water. She tried it nightly for a week and said, "It didn't knock me out, but it helped my body stop resisting sleep." And sometimes, that's all we need to stop resisting and start softening. Another small but impactful shift you can make: switch your bedside light to something soft and Goldina candle, or a gentle yellow nightlight. Bright white lighting, even from a lamp, can keep your nervous system in alert mode. But warm hues like those of a sunset or a glowing fire tell your brain the day is winding down. They help reestablish that natural rhythm many of us remember from childhood, when evenings were slower and sleep arrived easily. Now add to all this one of the simplest breathing rhythms you'll ever learn: the 4-2-6 breath. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Hold it lightly for 2. Then exhale gently through your mouth for 6. This breathing style lowers cortisol, steadies your heart, and activates the part of your nervous system that promotes calm and safety. It's the system that quietly reassures you, you're okay now, you can relax. It's a rhythm that tells your body with every breath that it no longer has to be on guard. And when combined with gentle tapping, it becomes a lullaby for the body, quiet, steady, and deeply soothing. Now picture all of this working in harmony, not as a task to complete, but as a nightly gift to yourself. You power down your screen, you take slow sips of honey water, you settle into soft light. You tap the 3 calming points. You breathe without strain, slow, deep, and easy. This isn't just another bedtime habit, it's a conversation with your nervous system. It's you saying, "I'm safe here, I'm home, I can let go now." And for many older adults, this message has been missing for far too long. Because sleep isn't something we chase or demand, it's something we gently invite, through consistency, care, and compassion. When we begin treating rest as something meaningful, the body starts to respond with that same sense of reverence. The most powerful discoveries don't always come from medications or manuals. Sometimes they come from everyday people, just like you, who tried something simple and found peace. Like Edward, a 78-year-old retired teacher from Ohio, his thoughts never stopped. Even after a long day, he'd lie in the dark replaying conversations, analyzing tiny details, and fretting about his morning blood pressure. He had tried it all: melatonin, herbal teas, white noise apps, but nothing seemed to work. Then he gave the tapping method a try. "At first I felt a little silly," he admitted. "Just sitting in bed, tapping between my eyebrows like I was trying to send a message in Morse code. But by the 3rd night, something shifted. I didn't even realize I'd fallen asleep. I just opened my eyes and it was morning." Or take Dorothy, 73, from Indiana. For years, she experienced what she called her 8 o'clock headache, a tight band across her temples that kept her tossing in bed. It wasn't sharp pain, just enough discomfort to keep her restless. Every evening, she began tapping gently at her temples while breathing slowly and steadily. After a few days, the tightness eased. "It was like the tension drained through my fingers," she told me. And there's Raymond, 75, a lifelong trucker from North Carolina. He carried himself with strength, broad shoulders, steady grip, but had been waking up in a fog, his neck stiff and his head heavy. His daughter suggested the tapping technique for the base of his skull. He gave it a shot. Within days, his mornings felt clearer. "I felt more like myself again," he said. None of them turned to prescriptions. None of them spent a cent. What they did was give themselves a few quiet minutes each night to pause, breathe, and listen. This isn't about fixing what's broken. It's about reminding your body that it's safe, that it can exhale. And that reminder? It begins with a soft tap, a calming breath, and the belief that restful sleep is still within reach no matter your age. If sleep has felt out of reach lately, you're not alone. Many nights can feel endless when your mind won't quiet, and everyone else seems to drift off with ease. You may find yourself asking, "Is this just how it's going to be now?" But here's something few people remember to tell you: your body isn't broken. It just needs a different kind of support. As we grow older, the signals that once helped us drift into sleep become softer, more delicate, and more easily disturbed. But with a little patience and steady care, those signals can return. Just like helping a child fall asleep without fear, you can gently reintroduce your body to the safety and quiet it needs to rest, not by pushing harder, but by offering comfort, predictability, and kindness. One peaceful habit at a time. A slow breath in the stillness, a soft tap on your brow, a pause before bed. These aren't just actions, they're messages. And every time you follow them, you guide yourself a little closer to the deep, restorative rest your body still knows how to find. So let's bring it all together, an easy evening rhythm you can start tonight. First, help your brain shift gears by turning off all screens at least 30 minutes before bed. That includes your phone, your television, and even that glowing tablet nearby. Let the space around you dim and quiet. It gently tells your system, the day is winding down. Next, make a small cup of warm water with 1 teaspoon of raw honey. This simple drink does more than soothe, it fuels the natural process your brain uses to produce melatonin, your internal sleep hormone. Sip it slowly, as if you're signaling your body it's time to slow down. Then, begin the tapping technique. Focus on 3 points: the center of your forehead, your temples, and the base of your neck. Spend about 30 seconds on each one. These aren't just light touches, they're intentional signals that calm your nervous system from the inside out. And lastly, combine this with 4 to 2 -6 breathing. Inhale through your nose for 4 seconds, pause for 2, then release the breath gently through your mouth for 6. Each cycle helps release lingering thoughts, like waves rolling softly away from shore. Repeat this routine each night for a full weekend. Notice what shifts. Sleep doesn't need to be a struggle. It can become an offering. Because deep down, your body hasn't forgotten how to rest, it's just waiting for a softer cue. So, will you give it a try tonight? If anything in this video brought you comfort or encouragement, leave a comment below or simply write the word HOPE to show you're ready for more peaceful nights ahead. And if it helped you feel more at ease, consider sharing it with someone you love. May tonight bring you peace, and may tomorrow welcome you with a lighter heart.